Recording in progress. Okay. Let's warm up today with a little bit of conversation. Let's warm up today with a little bit of conversation. Okay. So George and Brandon, this will be more listening practice for you guys, but when we get to you, I'm actually going to flex the language skills to my understanding of each student's capabilities. So we'll start with Ahmed, just because when I look at my screen, he's in the top left corner. Ahmed, dawshet.
Sus dawes, Janti. Wadi tawdushet.
Sarisa dawsh, whoopso. Ahmed, danawashish.
Sa New Jersey, Sashish.
One danawakashalkhwa.
Oh. Our dawes are shikim. Shishim, Qashakwa. New Jersey, Qashakwa.
Qashakwa.
Born?
San Jose,
oh, yeah. Okay. Sa New Jersey, Qashakwas.
Sigurat Saudi وقشلخوات.
How Americans Qashakwas.
خنشطة. سشقطكم. ست قدقالة.
Patterson Qashakwas.
Patterson وقشلخواش. دنو قشخوا. سعودي وقشخوا.
Saudi Qashakwas.
حلمتش. ويادر يانري دنقد قصديش
آخر شامم قيشاخس.
شامم قيشاخس. خنشطة سيقوابش. سقوب سجاس يقش. خطو وزر لاجر. ست ودا لجغوية.
سي لجاكر سي لجابر مست كمبيوتر خم كسر لاجاب.
كمبيوتر خم خط. انت تكنولوجيا مخش أرا.
تاج.
ويش حمو كل لاجرة. Do you have your own business? ويش حمو
كل لاجرة. Yes.
ويش حمو كل لاجرة. سيقوغرا ريكلامة against the أرا.
ستا.
ريكلامة against the marketing agency. Yeah, technology against the أرا.
أراس. Page.
وش حوسوي
CS and Bella. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
وو ناغو. Are you a family man?
Page.
سبي دابش شوية.
زي سابيسي.
صالة حما خجابز.
صالش.
خطب يتصر.
يتصر
رايدن. حلمت ستو داخا أتصر. مستا دابش أبي نبجر.
ينبجر بلي
راش. يلتسيبل. سيقوابش تحمي غبصو أحمد زبسل النغر خوابجو سيقريحاش.
سري سيقريحاش.
عجا عمر محجر.
هاي.
ايه داوشت.
تمام داوشت وداوشت.
سري سخرزنش وبصو. عمر بجوس ايش أجمع وهاثورن وشوبصو أرى.
انت.
أو حرب بزج أف وبسل أفر أرى.
يجري.
حرب بزج أف وبسل أفر.
You lost me.
حرب بزة. سيريا مشش حرب بزج أما بسالة. يوردان مشش. أمريكا شش ينجلب بزج أدزو بسالة. سيريا مشش. يوردان مشش. حرب بزج أما بسالة. وحرب بزج أو بسل أفر.
What does حرب بزة mean?
Arabic.
Okay. So Syrian?
Do you speak Arabic?
Yes. انت.
حرب بزج أو بسل أفر أرى. ويد جفرة حمر وبسل أفر. ويد جفرة حمر أو وبسل أفر.
انت.
وجف.
انت.
وتخفرة.
انت.
وأمريكا وقش الخوا. سان خوزي قش الخواش. أحمد باترسون قش الخواش. ودنو قش الخوا.
وين
نيو جيرسي وقش الخواش.
انت.
دنا حرب بزج يبغش
سوريا.
أبي وقش الخوا.
انت.
أراشي أمريكا وقش الخواش. سيريم وأبخاتي أبي وقش الخواش. إتنا بنوج أمريكا وأبخجاش أرى.
انت.
ورقوغش. سيريا را وجبها. سيريا حمد يوردن.
سوريا.
سوريا ست خدا قالة
قدسية قال.
قدسية خنشتا ست خديس لاندرا أبي وش بسوا زي يثلسيت يثلسيش
بلشيش
يثلسيبل يثلسيبل لاندرا أبي وش بسواش أرى
انت
أزمانم وقق وجام نوج دابش وين نبجت.
How long ago?
When you came back, how old were you?
Oh, I don't know how to say in Circadian, but I was about 14.
نبلاغة بشقوكل. نبلاغة, just about, right around.
Okay.
نبلاغة بشقوكل.
شقوق.
ش is 10, ش is 4, قوكل 14. Then ويانرا يجري بسو. ما بسو همر دونيم يخجا.
ماشي.
ويانرا. Ada, Baba, Anna, Mama. Are they still alive?
Yes,
مبسو. توري مبسو. آخر أدي قبض جبسة لفرة.
سيانا نطا حوا السيادة.
ويادا بسلف رقم خنش. ويانا ست كده بزمتش مبساثرة. قبر دي يبزا بجدوغ بزا أبزاخ بزا.
بجدوغ.
بجدوغ بزا. ووي ديجتا ووي أوكي بسلتشا. وبسلفرة أدي قبزتشا. Do you believe you speak أدي قبزة؟
حوا.
بوس وبسلفر. دزوبساثة يجب ستو.
Maybe did that suck maybe.
أوك سبسلفرة. أوك كونس. وف ددو وبساثة سيقش. وف ددو وبساثة زي جمع سبسلفركم. Never say you cannot speak. You spoke. You just spoke to me. You had a full. Listen, guys. Two people just had a full conversation where both of us understood. No reading, no scripts, no cheating. You speak, Amr. Don't ever tell yourself or let anyone else tell you that you don't speak. Okay? It's been my pleasure. Aslan.
سيد شانتي
داوشت.
تمام ودوشت
Sorry, so tamamsh. What do we just force? We mahwa dawhwa. Tamam. Hama we mahwar.
تمام
تمام وماخر تممت. دنا وش يجيب ستو؟
نيو جيرسي شاش
ونيو جيرسي والشاش. حلمتش ست خد قالة.
وودلاند بارك
وودلاند بارك قالة. أب ويجري حرة. Do you like it there?
انت
سرسي جروح New Jersey. I also like New Jersey. سرسي جروح New Jersey. وويديش شأخوا حمرا يجبستو خوابا حمرا الشقة.
حمرا الشقة.
وويديش الشقرة.
انت.
و زقوش ز شبخويئة. قشويئة. سيجورة وقشويئش يمز زريجة. وقشويئة. يمز ويقشرة.
انت. I don't know.
يمز ويقش. حما يمز ويشبخ. حوا. يمز ويقش. Do you know what the word qush is?
No.
Brother.
Okay.
So it's very common when Circassian men see each other, where there's a certain ethnic group in the United States that does this as well. Hey, brother, what's up, brother? All Circassian men always address each other as brother.
Okay.
And it's interesting because if you have a cousin, you'll also introduce that person as your brother. And so it's not uncommon at all. And it's not at all a bad thing at all. When you're in homeland, if you say, this is my brother, and somebody will look, maybe you look very different, you say, is he your real brother or is he your brother? And then you would define, we have the same mother, we're born brothers, or you say, we wouldn't, Merci wunaqosh, he's my relative, brother. Or you say, no, there's a blaga, there's a qosh, we can say he's my relative through marriage. Or you could say, he's my good friend, he's my brother. But this word brother, it's a very broad, warm, encompassing term. But when I asked you, is Yamiz your brother? That's what I was asking you.
Okay.
So, Kwadusi guapa khwash, Aslan. Kwadusi guapa
He
khwash.
knows the word for brother. He just didn't recognize it now. He heard me, Nuri, Berzach, all the guys say sikwash, sikwash, salam sikwash. He knows it.
It's actually sikwash.
Wash.
Sikwash. I'm not sure. Sikwash, maybe it means something, but it's not brother. Wash, wash.
Yeah.
Wash. George,
C'est gentil.
that was shit.
Ça se kharzenash so washa.
Sarisa kharzinash. Whoopso. What? Then was sha'a.
Ça Montreal c'est shash.
Montreal was sha'ash. Abu grihra.
سيقولي حرا
We grow. Tamam. Montreal, Egypt's too khwaba. Hamash sha'a.
how الشقة كودو
Sha'a didara.
شقة ددرة شقة ددرة
Montreal arqalarash. Arstatkum arqalash. Ara?
قال راش
Montreal قالش سيغورا Montreal
قالش.
قالش Toronto قالش Chicago Montreal قالش ستودا قرال is the شقة Montreal United States را
قال كنراش
Montreal.
كنداش
قال مونتريالش أو قال أمريكا كنداش أرا
كنداش
أراشي كندا
كنداش
قرال راش was the شقة وخدتو وزر لاجر بروفيسور را
who's my professor خد
Okay, so when we say خدتو وزر لاجر, who do you work as? What is your profession?
Oh, okay. Teachers. Yeah. I mean, I teach Mandarin and French, Mandarin in elementary school and the French at my university. But they're more like part-time jobs. I also study for a master's.
ست magistrate وشجرة.
Linguistics.
Linguist.
Linguist.
Linguist. خد سيقوا بخواش جورج. حمي غبصة.
I speak well. Is that?
It was my great pleasure.
Oh, okay. Wopso.
You speak very well.
Oh, wopso.
Yeah. There's people who live in Nalchik who couldn't have a conversation the way you and I just had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, halamat.
Halamatri Pejs. Halamatri Pejs. Brandon.
Shit, Santi.
Why is a kharzinish? Whoopso. What dawo shit?
It's a kharzinish. So.
Egypt's what then was sha'a?
Says Pleasanton, California. Success.
Pleasanton, California was sha'ash. What we deshta sha'a hamahuaba.
Nobu. Huaba.
Nobo huabas. Halamach. We mahwa dawa huanoba. Tamam. Hama we mahwa.
Mahwa that today. Yeah. We mahwa tamam.
Tamam. Ay. قصوى غاو ويتسار سشغب شاش what's it ويتسار
سيتسار Brandon
وبصو ويتسار براندن وف ضدو ادي جبجة وبسلفرة وف ضدو very well ادي جبجة in the Circassian language وبسلفرة you're able to speak وفددو ديجابزيتش وبسلفرة.
So, Janti, how would I respond to that?
وبسو.
So,
وري وبسوج سيقاش. وري وبسوج. Hola.
ست جونتي
داوشتي شبخ.
دغوج تمام شو بسو داوشت
سوري سخرزنش وبسو. وبسو. Hola. شقب سجاشسا. ودنا وشقة.
يجبستو ميلتون سشاش
ميلتون أرقالة.
حوا أرقالم I'll just say حوا
أو خونش. أراشي قالقم أرقواجة.
قواجة
قواجش وبسو وبسو. أر أمريكا is the شقة. حما أر نغوش قرال is the شقر.
حوا كنداش
وكندا was the شقة. وبسو. وإيش يجبستو الشقة. حما خوابة.
يجبستو شقر
دادي ديش شيكاغو ديش يجبستو شقش. Yeah. شماخو خواش. It's winter. شماخو خواش. مستام. أي. قصوا غاوخ. ويتسأر شجغب شجاش. What's it ويتسأر؟
ويتسر أولاش
ويتسأر أولاش. وجبان خويت سيتسأر أولاش.
سيتسر أولاش
أوكي خونش وبسو أولا. وكندا وقشل خوا.
حوا سعودي أرابيا سقش خواش
فددو جباش. فددو داغوانشا. flawless. داغوانش وجبات. مستام. ودنا وشش.
ودنا وشش سيريان سشش
سيري وشش.
انت
ويادرا مبسو.
انت
يجري بسو. آخر ديجابز جبسة لفرة.
قصفغاو can you say that again
ويانرا أديجابزة بساثرة. بساثرة.
حوا unfortunately
بجاغوز رخونشي بسلفرقم أرى. واو. ومكلاسم يبتشا. أديجابزة وبسلفة.
حوا
هجوي.
after class
Before class you never spoke.
no حوا at all
هجوي. واو. ستو غشغون. وفددو وبساثلة.
it's all because of you
حمو يغبصو. حمو يغبصو. وفددو وبساثلة. وفددو وبساثلة.
thank you
ياوا. سيقواطو خواش ولا.
thanks
يمز.
Salam, Janti.
وعليكم السلام. وعليكم السلام. ويجبستو دنا وشقة.
يجبستو سي ونا
ويونا مش أص. خونش. مستام. ودابشو وينبزر.
دابشة ونبزر
وينبزر. أحمد.
نبجر
أحمد يشعالر يتلسيبل ينبجراش. تشرب كثرة. سي نبجراش. ودابشو وينبجر.
I don't know how to say it.
قجاء أخوان بتشا. استغلاو.
How old? 32. I don't know how to say Tosh. No. Shach. Shach is 30.
Shush.
Shashratora.
You thought you didn't know and you know. You're lying to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Very
My
good.
bad. Remembered it from like 2 years ago.
I was shogop shazakim, but you didn't forget.
You're right.
What?
So that means you're 34?
34.
32.
No, 32.
So 2 years ago.
Yeah. I was 32. I was 32.
I remembered how to
ago.
say it from 2 years ago. That's clever.
You know what? He's going to memorize. He's 35. So 3 years from now, he just knows it cold.
Yeah.
Mr. Yamiz, what dana wishish?
Dana wishish. So New Jersey sishish.
New Jersey wishish. Halamach.
Oh, in New Jersey or where I'm from?
Where are you from?
So Kafkas Sashish.
Oh, Kafkas was okay. We gumcha abkodu kapsokhora. You feel that way in your heart?
Anta.
Tamam. Zrijus anokamabe. Teohawa. What will Lazara Hamra Yajab Umukora Universiteit Umukora Hamra Walazara Nur Universiteit Makwa Wari Universiteit Mukora
Hawa.
Walazara Lejawia
Work. I work.
Walaza
Walaja.
Solaza
Sit.
Ujip Anquet Solaza.
Ushapan Huet Solaja.
You want to say I work. You told me that you work.
Sa Solaja.
What hatu was a Lazar? Finance over a Lazar. What's Lazar?
Banking. Stifel Bank.
Finance over.
Finance over.
How much? Was a gor Hakumusha? Nalchik Musha.
Anta. Nalchik wa Nalchik. My co-op.
Cherkesk?
That's Hawa.
My coopera Nalchik Razafacha Wusha Ash.
Next time Cherkesk.
Sikonos.
I forgot the word for next time. Dizzer
You could say Diapacha in the future. You can say Zaman Qachashukur in the following time. It's not a common phrase in Circassian, believe it or not.
Okay.
You could just say in the future, Diapacha. Siguapa Huashimas.
Siguapish. Upso.
Yeah, what for the Upsasha?
Upso, Janti.
Albert. Stawashit.
So how's this, Shanti? What is the Kwanda?
That is a Harzinas Wupso. What is the Gorpshkara?
Yeah.
Araf. Za, Albert, za. Araf. Hama Afinsha.
What do offs make cookies?
Pechina.
Pachina.
Whoops, Ezra sit Afinsha. Yamahanar? Afinsha.
Offensive. Is that the opposite of good?
10 years ago, when I first started teaching Circassian, I could barely speak Circassian. Albert was in my class and he asked me, how do you say something's tasty? I said, oh, it's uff. He said, how would you say something has no flavor, has no taste? And I said, wow, I don't know that. This is 10 years ago.
Yeah, very good.
This is 10 years ago. And then he came back into my group and he was in a group chat. And I told him like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, you know what? I remember 10 years ago, you asked me, how do you say something has no flavor? And I told him, afinsha. So
I'll try to remember that one.
well, insha means the absence of. So, ab aql yi'ash. He is smart. He has a mind. Aqalinshash. He's a mindless person. Hanshash. He's an atheist. Afinshash. It has no taste. So it's a suffix that means it has nothing. It does not have it.
Like wazinsha.
Wazinsha, to be without pain, to have health.
Yeah. Okay.
Albert, what dana waqashalkhwa?
The Jordanians
ويردانيا وقشلخوا.
Yeah.
وحرب بزتش وبسلفرة.
A few bad words.
بساتلا إخر بوصرة.
Yeah.
بساتلا إخر بوصة خونستا. ودنا وقشخوا. أمريكا وقشخوا.
Jordania.
يوردانيا وقشالخواش.
Yeah.
أو يوردانيا وقشخوا. حما أمريكا وقشخوا.
I think I'm confused. What was the second one?
Where did you grow up?
Oh,
قشخوا.
America.
أمريكا وقشخواش.
Yeah.
مستام
Mm-hmm.
وuniversiteit مقرة.
Jupstu House, Quash University, a long time ago.
أو يجبستو ولا أجرة.
Oh, sa pension.
pensia mukwash.
Yeah.
Pensia mukwash. Why is it too for did that? Mist Tahak mukura.
Sa kweno sa kwes. Hamji ma jamafwam sa kwenos.
Khunst we subjaser a lahamji am sari magamahwam nalchik sa anosh. Wari wakakonu khwema iblaga jaser.
Oh, what's up?
So was Guapo Khash Albert.
Sorry, si guapa kwa.
Verzaj.
Sit Janti, Sam Guapa.
Si nakfu slauk abazach shala.
That was shit.
Sa kharzanas wasa.
Tamam, sorry, whoopso.
Whoopso. Wari whoopso is. What then was sha'a?
Say Gypsy, California, Sishash, Siwanam Sis.
Sit Kotakala was the sha'ar.
Kalam Yitzer Loma Lindash.
Loma Linda Sotzuk. We dish a Egypto Huaba, Hamasha'a.
Noba Huaba.
Noba Huaba.
Dan,
Loma Linda Mafam, yes.
Mafum Sida.
Mafam, yes.
Mafum, yes.
Is it on fire?
How Qazgurash, Egypt.
That was last week.
How Abe Mazacha, Mafa Shash, Nta.
Maza Yiplam, Mafa Shash Fidish.
Nta.
What then on Qashal
Sa California, Spatial Hua, Anaheim.
Anaheim
Qalam, Nta.
Sorry, California, Qashal Huash. Pejui.
Aj Halamach.
San Jose, Qashal Huash.
Nta.
Say Lasich. Sandra Abid Shipsawati, Itana, New Jersey, the Abhuat.
Sit Nach Wuguri Harash.
Sigri Hara. Pajub Jes Anchi, Sija was a Hunchi, New Jersey, Zay Abhudizu Sigri Hatakam. Jes Afanakam such Hatchami, our Sipsara, si Aqlera, si Gupsa Sachra, Zay Huakamab. Egypt stood such a Chicago, so Shopso. بجيسفانا كم بسسي مرسسي خوكم نو سل جاسي اش مبديج زرخونش يجبستو او ست خد شمر سسي ديجدا جلراش جلراش سروخوير او سس اركم دنا جلس سقشو ستفنر خوكم سابخ فنقم تركيا ارخام قراج سسي ديجدا امريكا تخام قراج سسي ديجدا راشي جبفانوش سس جبسيم كودش
قزقرواش
Sorry, just waqab gru'a.
Nakhba qazgurash mo mis gwarjib ama zawasu zakhal
zakhal hama
انت qazgura jib akhara انت
barzat si guapa khwas
wopso wazinshu
wari wazinshu washat si qash dua
Sit Janti.
That was shit.
Tamam shwapso.
Whoopso. What Egypt stood dana was sha'a?
Sa New Jersey sha'ash.
New Jersey was sha'ash. Abdejam sha'a hama huab.
Are you asking if New Jersey, if it's hot in New Jersey? Is that what you're saying?
Huaba hama sha'a.
Sa sha'ash, sa New Jersey sha'ash.
New Jersey was sha'ash. New Jersey sha'ash. You are in New Jersey. It's cold in New Jersey. Ara.
Inta.
Khonsta mist oi qaswa gauch. Witsar sejorb sejash. Witsar sit.
Sa hijabs.
Wochabs, siguapas. Our sasitsar jantish. What sit witsar?
Sa sitsar duash.
Siguapas. It's my pleasure. Siguapas. What Adawi'a. Babawi'a. Adawi'a.
I understood father.
Adawi'a. Do you have a father?
Inta.
Khat abiyitsar.
Abitsar Diab.
Diab. Diab si wanaqosh. He's my relative. You're my relative. Ana wi'a. Ana mama wi'a.
Okay, you're asking a question about my mom, right?
Do you have a mom?
Inta.
Dawich, of course. Wiana yitzarsit.
Siana. Abitsar Rueda.
Rueda. Wow. Situdacha atzar. Beautiful name. What dena? Whoopsawij. What dena wishish?
Sa Winna Shash.
What winam was sha'ash. Khunch. Sari winam sa sha'ash. Sa America sa shish. Sa America sa shish. Albert Jordanum shish. What dena wishish?
Sa New Jersey Shash.
New Jersey wishish. Whoopso dua. Whoopfadidu whoopsasha. You speak very well. You speak very well. I know that was very nerve-wracking for you, but you did a very good job. You did a very good job. Congratulations. Margarita.
تجنتي
Dawshit.
تمامش وبصو وداش
Sarisa tamamsh. Sarisa tamamsh. What Egypt stood dana wisha'a?
سي جبستو نيويورك سشاش
What New York mushish? Albert Jordanum shish. Sa America shish. What dana wishish?
Where was I born?
Where are you from?
سي مزكو سشش
Wow, mezkul. So we call, side note, Russians call Moscow, Moskva. They call Moscow, Moscow. And if you ask them why they call Moscow, Moscow, they say Moscow, the city, is named after Moscow, the river. And then you say, where did Moscow, the river, get its name? They say it runs through Moscow, the city. So it's a recursive function. Circassians call Moscow mezkul, which means the deep forest. But for some reason, I don't know, it's not nice to say mezkul when you're speaking around ethnic Russians. I think it's because they think that we have a different name for it than they do. But mezkul, there's no negative connotation to it, but mezkul. I'm impressed that you have that word in your vocabulary. That's very good.
Thanks to
What universitetem ukora?
انت سي университетом سقرا
Sokwa?
ها
Sokwa?
سقرا
Sitqua de universitetem. Columbia.
NYU
NYU. Sari NYU sa shush. Sari magistrace NYU si ash.
ده
Klish diploma. Red diploma. What quadlandra? Long time. What quadlandra? Adigabjicha? Wapsatha?
how س وخلاندرا أبدي غبسة ويبسيت ثلاثة رقم
Wow. What the wanchu wapsatha? You speak very well. You speak flawlessly. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. وفددو وبساحلة تحمي غبسو مارغريتا تحمي غبسو سارة
ست جانتي
وداوشت نصحبة
خرزنش داوشت
ساريسة خرزنش ودنا وشش سارة
سا سيريا سشش
سيري وشش ساري سيري سشش وسيري وقش الخوا
شخوا
سا كاليفورنيا سا
حوا سا سعودي أرابيا سا قشكوا
وسعودي وقش الخواش ست ودا قالة
رياض
رياض رياض سعودي يقلاشحش. It's the capital of Saudi Arabia.
انت
يجبستو دنا والشقة
يجبستو سا تورونتو سا شاش
تورونتو أرقى للداخش. It's a beautiful city. ووديجة يجبستو الشقة حمخوابة
يجبستو شقة ددش
شقة دريدي ديجة شيكاغو شقة دد خواش دريدي ديج مكلاسم يبتشا أدي جبزج أو بسلفة
I didn't understand that.
مكلاسم. So tell me what you think that means in English.
This class.
مكلاسم يبتشا
The time.
Before.
Okay.
مكلاسم يبتشا أدي جبزج وبسلفة
حوا
هجوي وبسلفاقم.
Yeah,
wow.
I didn't speak any adigabsa before the class.
Wow. فددو وبساحلة فددو وبساحلة مستام عادة ويئة بابا ويئة.
So my mom, how do you say it?
Siana.
Yana?
My mom, Siana.
Siana speaks adigabsa.
Siana adigabsa mabsasha.
But she speaks bjador.
Bjador ari bzadachash. That's also a beautiful dialect. Wiyadasha wiyada adigabsa mabsasha.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Wiyana adigabsa mabsasha. Wiyada Baba, wiyada adigabzacha mapsasha.
So
Uri mapsasha.
Hawa.
Sashaqam. What for diddle wapsasha? You speak very well. Hamir Sara. Hamir Emre.
Shanti.
What the no shish?
Said Turkum Sashish.
ست قدقالة
قيصر
قالة قبرديم شش تركيا قبرديم شش يا قلاش حراسي بغرة
أذني لا قيصر أذني لا
أديك كرتابش زرو خورا قالم
تابش خورا قيصر مليون تجاس سيكوغامجا I don't know how to say. Maybe 100,000.
Wow, 100,000 Adiga people in Kaiser.
Yeah, they say 10%. So
yeah, well, I know some people who say 30%.
Oh yeah, yeah. According to some people, there are over 10 million Circassians in Turkey. For some people, it's 1 million. So
yeah,
we never know.
What then was Shipso?
Say Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio was Shipso. Adiga kwetsha Columbus, Ohio.
Hawa siguramge sernemish z tushas.
Zitushas. Uri is the best as in Nabzoch. Yes, in Nabzocha, yes, as in Blagachas.
ده هو قصجما اي بس جقا مع هاري سيغوغام جس سيزاقوراتي
وقزراشكم ادي قبض وبسشا.
ده سب ادي قواجه سقشارفاس قيصر قبر دي قواجه تركبزه زي سبسلائم يقابم جزكه تركبزر زاز غجاز شكولمسه
حلماتش عارف قد غطوغيش وويت قبل مششم قبل تفنما
ده
وو ناغوا
تسس وناغس
مش حوسه ويئة
تاش حوس سياس
ستوفا سبيخر ويئة
حوا
سيغوغاد سبي ويئة
the popular قاخوان
خونشتا سيغوابا خواش امري
سري سيغوابس
خط قنا جاو ديئة ناقد غبلت ذا مسورات خرب سوري زا شاشوت زا نور.
السلام عليكم جانتي.
وعليكم السلام نور address.
My actual last name سي ونغوتسر بشغون.
شغون عارقة برديتسا.
عوا بجدوغ.
وي بجدوغ خرست وثلاش.
عارف.
وبجدوغ غبزة شو بسافرة.
عوا سبجدوغ بسيتشا بساخكم. سيادة بجدوغ بسيتشا يبساخر.
ويانشا؟
عوا سيانا عرب زيتشا ينجل بزيتشا يبساخر.
ما بساخر. ودنا وشش.
يجيب سا نيوجيرسي سشش.
نيوجيرسي وشش. ودنا وقشلخوا.
نيوجيرسي سقشلخوا.
ويانر دنشا.
سياتر سيريم سياتا سيانا سيريم سقشلخوا. قاشلخواش.
دنمي ستقود قالة ستقود قواجة.
سيادة عين النسر قالم عين النسر قواجة قشخوا سيانا منبج قالم قشخوا
منبج أرجلانم بغنو حمر أرزقنا قشخوا
منبج أليبو قالم
يبغنوش
عين النسر حمص قالم
قرؤوغش وزغور خكوجموشا
انت ما يكس قاش
ويغريحا
انت سيغريحا قد خوابجو سيغريحاش
وي بلاغ قورخر قبوتها
كوزغرام
بلاغ ونقوش قورخر قبوتها
سا انت سياش اديجيم شوبسو يجر كوي قواجم يتسر
يجر قواجة ارتق تروقش قواجة خجاء راوا قالم ناس بوخ
عارف انت
سيغوابا خواش نور
ساري سيغوابش
خطقنا الجاوش Did I speak to everybody whose camera is on? Yeah? Okay. So I see in the comments, there's a little bit of ambiguity around where are you from, where were you born, where did you grow up, right? So let's go over that real quick. So, and I'll write this in a minute. So when we say, it's very common when Circassian people meet each other, they'll say, Sitwitsar, Chetwitsar. What's your name? Two different ways of saying it. Sitwitsar, what is your name? Chetwitsar, who is your name? Both, it's a big debate. I'm not going to solve it. Both are equally acceptable. The very next question they'll ask you, Denawashish. Denawashish is a very big question, and you can answer it in a million different ways, okay? Denawashish literally means, where do you belong? Where do you belong? Okay, so you can say, so if I'm at Emre, dawashit, wachatwitsar sasitar jantish, yemishichem yashish. Before he even asks me, because I know the next question, I can say, yemishichem yashish. I belong to the Yemish people, right? Emre would say to me, sasitar emresh, bashokem yashish. I belong to the bashok. That I pronounced it properly, right, Emre? Bashok.
Yeah, Bashoka. Unawaza Shogosa.
Shogosa. Shogosa. So this could be one answer, right? One answer. Then it was shish. Shish. I'll write all this for you in a minute. Shish. What family do you belong to? Right? It could also say Dena was shish. Now, if I say Dena was shish, Dena means where. Dena was shish. Where do you belong? Now, this is a very interesting question. So I'll give you guys a little quick story here. There is a famous cafe in Nalchik called Timarisa. Emre, what's the Gwarhakumusha?
Hawa.
What our Timarisa?
Hawa.
Oh, so Timarisa is a famous cafe in Nalchik that was opened in like 1992, right after the fall of the Soviet Union, by a Turkish repatriate. So this last summer, I went to go meet some of my Syrian-born relatives who have emigrated to Nalchik, and we're pulling up to the it's a restaurant. It started off as a cafe, but it's a very big, very nice restaurant. If we all go to Nalchik this summer, I invite you guys all to go there with me. And we go up into there, and my son asks my wife, where are we going? And she says, we're going to Temiris. It's a cafe opened by Adigakir Turkmshish. And then I said to my wife, I turned to my wife and I said, these guys opened this cafe in 1991. It's now 2021. It's been 30 years. There's at least 2 generations of children that have been born from this family, whoever this family, they're a beautiful family. I've met them a few times. I don't know them that well. Very nice people. So I said, there's at least 2 generations of children that have been born from this family. The guy who opened this space, he's probably an old man retired by now. How many generations have to go by before we stop saying Turkmshish and Hukumshish? We've never experienced this in thousands of years of Circassian culture. Benuashish is like, what village are you from? And you're from the village that your great grandfather is from. So it's just an interesting thing. So Benuashish, where are you from? So when people ask me where I'm from, I say Sirium Shish, even though I was born in New Jersey. So that's shish. And that's a personal decision. Yamiz said sa Kafkazim shish. That's his personal decision, right? That's his personal feelings. No one has any right to question it, to challenge it, to anything. And then finally, there is this Danawukashahwa. Danawukashahwa. Where did you grow up? Where were you raised? Where did you grow up? Okay. And, now in this modern Circassian world, all 3 of these questions are equally valid and equally important because you, like me, right? I was born in one place. I consider myself to be from another, and I was raised in a third. And there's some of us here, I think Ola, right? Born in Saudi Arabia. Her parents are from Syria, so she probably identifies more with Syrian culture than Saudi Arabian culture, right? But then she's growing up in Canada. She's still a young person, so I assume you're still growing up, not old like me. So, these are the 3 verbs. We'll go into the formal lesson in a minute, and I'll spell these out for you. But this has been a very different class, but I just want to take a pulse check. Has this been fun, helpful? Does anybody not like this?
It's fun, very fun.
It was awesome, yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I'm going to keep reminding you guys now all speak Circassian, right? Let me just say it again. Every single one of you, without pause, without delay, without cheating, without reading, every single one of you was able to have a very decent conversation with me. And the questions that I was asking you, they are what any native speaker of Circassian would ask you. What's your name? Where are you from? Who's your family? Where did you grow up? These are the very basic getting to know you things. And so you guys should all be very proud of yourselves. I really mean that. Okay.
Whoops, so gentil.
Whoops, so is.
George, you did really well.
Oh,
good.
thanks.
Brandon,
So,
yeah.
thank you.
So good.
All right, let's go into the screen share. I'm going to do a really quick refresher on this dana washish, dana qashalhwa, all that good stuff. All right. So dana washish. Oh, so I asked this to, before I do this, because this has a big implication for how I teach the class. All right. So did you, chet was, who asked this question? Did you guys catch the first one Jonty mentioned? Was it like chet was shish? I'll go over that. I'll go over all that. Don't worry. So we're coming up towards the end of this first semester, right? This class is designed to go towards the middle of December. Officially, for you guys, December 15th. So December 15th will be the last class. And then what I plan to do is open a new class for the new year. It'll probably be September 7th. I'm sorry, January 7th, you know, whatever, a couple days after the new year starts, January 3rd, whatever that day is. I have to look at the calendar. I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. Let me shut off the recording. I don't want people to feel like I'm putting them on the spot. Or let me stop the share. And let's go share my screen again. All right. So we're going to be sticking with the real Circassian alphabet. You guys can take notes, but I'm going to be removing the transliteration slowly. So Dena Washish, where are you from? Where do you belong? Whoops. Let me move this out a little bit. Okay. Then where is this? Where were you born?
Can you say the where were you born again?
I'll say them all.
Okay.
I can't touch type with Cyrillic yet. So the reason I'm like not talking is because I'm staring at the keyboard and trying to type as quickly as I can. Okay, so Dena Washish, where are you from? Where do you belong? Dena Waqashalhwa. So the difference here is this. Waqashalhwa. Dena Waqashalhwa. Dena wa Dena Waqashalhwa. Dena Waqashalhwa. Where did you grow up? Now the difference between these is in case you're wondering. Okay, so wuq, it happened to you. Sh is it shows a location or a time or a space. Time and space are the same in Circassian. We're super physicists. Okay, and then the verb here is. So the infinitive of this is to be born. To be born someplace. To be born someplace in the past. You were born someplace in the past. Dena where were you born? Where did you grow up? Dena where did you come to exist? Where did you grow up? Yamiz, do you have a question?
Yes, can you just add where are you, like currently in the present?
Then it was and then remember, I'm not, if this confuses you, I'll just erase this. Shi'a is cold. Remember, shi'a, where are shi'a to be someplace. Shi'a, cold. Sada, do you have a question?
Would you be able to repeat where were you born and where did you grow up again? Because they're sounding very similar to me.
Sure. Okay. So we're good with Dana, right? Everybody's good with Dana. Where are you? For those of you who are Western speakers, or those like Ahmed's father, Ali Rahman, and my father, even though we're Kabardians, even our fathers would say Tena, Tena. So you'll hear somebody who speaks with more of a Western inflection, or real Westerners, they'll say Tena, Tena. We say Dena, Dena. Where? Right? Dena, وقشال حوا قشال حوا قشال حوا 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 Dena وقشال حوا. Where did you grow up? Dena وقش حوا وقش حوا حوا. So look. حوا حوا. That's the first one. That's where my microphone is. That's the second one. Don't worry if you can say it. Does anybody have trouble hearing it? Everybody can hear the difference? Okay. The first step to being able to say it is to hear it. If you can't hear it, you'll never say it. If you can hear it, it'll come with time. So please don't worry if this is troublesome to you. It will come with time. You know, I was thinking I try to always use analogies to encourage you guys. So let me use one right now. How many times, we've all had this happen at least once. It might be a party, it might be for business. We go into a room and we don't know anybody there. And people say, why don't we all introduce ourselves? Now, I don't know about you guys. I'm good with faces. I'm terrible with names. So we go around the room. I'm Joe, I'm Blow, I'm Tom, I'm Dick, I'm Harry, I'm Susan, I'm Samantha, I'm Jerry, I'm blah, blah, blah. And I go back and I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. There's a Jerry in there somewhere, but you know, God help me, I don't know who. It's similar with language. There's a lot of stuff to learn. Don't worry about the stuff that passes over your head. Just focus on the stuff that sticks, right? Grab onto that and build around that. Never, never, ever get discouraged or worry about stuff that passes by. Focus on the stuff that sticks. Brandon, you have a question?
I think this could also be a good time for you to accept or elicit any associations or tagging with the words that would help us, or that would help and just anybody to remember them. Like, for example, I don't know. I always, for example, sorry if you guys hear the dryer in the background.
I thought it was a fire alarm or something.
But yeah, let me see if I can do this here. Like this hua, that hua comes out very strongly once I can actually read it as well. And so that hua, I would always think of like what, where, why, hua. I don't know, just to elicit sound associations, meaning associations, stories that you can associate with the sound of the words that will help you to remember. It was one of the things in the TPRS to help just try to quickly, connect these words to your memory.
Yep. I'll give you, George, I want to hear what you say. I'll give you an example of that. I'll give you an example here in Circassian in just a moment. Many of you know that I'm studying Russian, and my Russian today is better than my Circassian was when I first started teaching Circassian. Forget speaking Circassian. One word that always screws me up is the word bedro. Bedro is thigh. So the way that I remember bedro rhymes with low. Low is the opposite of high. High rhymes with thigh. I know that's 5 steps, but in my head, it's simple. I'll give you guys simpler ones, but Brandon, is that kind of an example of what you're talking about?
And just have, everybody in class, they can throw out ideas that could bounce around and, maybe another person that might stick, maybe not.
Okay, fair enough. George, you have a question or a comment?
A comment, yeah. So it's sorry. So it's actually a response to Brandon when he asked us for tips to help distinguish between subtle differences. So like the sounds that he said, like schwa and schwa, like so. For this one, like usually when I teach Mandarin, and there are many sounds that are really similar. So I tell my my students, I give them like scenarios from real life where things happen to us, and then we make a sound, and like that sound that we make sounds similar to that. Like for example, when you're thinking, you say and like that sounds like a tone. So I do that in Mandarin. So I guess I can do this for Circassian. So like I guess the first one, like this one, I personally think it sounds like, sometimes when you have like saliva on the sides of your mouth and then you do like to like slurp it inside, like it kind of sounds like that sound. So like I guess that's an approximate way you could try doing it, is like if you're like slurping from both sides, it's kind of similar. So khwa. And then the next one with the kh is like when you're for example, when you're disappointed or frustrated, you're like, come on, like that is like the same sound as the schwa, like where did you grow up? So those are things that I like to do when I teach those harder sounds. So
okay,
that's a way, yeah.
So I'm going to take a shot at the second one. All right. I think everyone here who is Circassian, except for Emre and Margarita, has connections to the Middle East. So maybe they do this in Turkey, maybe not. I guarantee you 100% everybody here with parents from the Middle East has heard their parents say, ugh, like they stub their toe, ugh, right? That's this sound, ugh. So, where did you grow up? Think of your childhood and think of your mom and dad saying, ugh, when they stubbed their toe. They stepped on your Lego, ugh, right? When you grew up, you played with Legos and you heard your parents step on the Lego, say, ugh, right? What does the word in Arabic, akhti, which is hang on, what does this word mean?
Well, ukhti is my sister.
Ukhti, yeah,
Ukhti
sister.
is my sister, yeah.
All right, so think of where your sister grew up, ukhti. So that's another way. By the way, kha is one of the most common sounds in Circassian. So the other thing is, for those of you who have parents who speak, you may have heard this phrase. It's a super, super common phrase. Sitqa, what happened? Sitqa, what happened, right? So there's a couple things. Unfortunately, it's very Circassian specific. So there's some Middle Eastern stuff that George may be able to grab onto, but Brandon, I'll try to think of something for you.
I mean,
so those are all things you guys can think of.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but in my case, my parents and my family, when they stub, when they feel pain or stub their toes or whatever, they usually say "ay." I don't know about for me, sounds more like frustration, like like that. Come on, like to me, that's what it sounds like.
Or
not really pain, but yeah.
Or we all heard, I'm sure all of us, astaghfirullah.
In Circassian or
no, in Arabic.
Arabic.
What's the word?
Astaghfirullah.
No, they don't say that.
we use astaghfirullah.
Mine, not mine. Not my family. I don't know. Okay, maybe other countries. I am from Egypt or Lebanon. I don't know if Syria or other countries say that. I don't know.
This other one, sha is also a very common word. Sasha. So sha is a very common sound in Circassian. I'll give you guys maybe a couple ways to say this. So Psasha means to speak. It means word or to speak. The noun form is word. The verb form is to speak. What psasha, right? We covered this in some of our vocabularies, right? So you have to be born before you can speak. Right? The other word, maybe it's helpful, maybe it's not. And I'm not sure a lot of you know this, because I know in Turkey, this word has almost disappeared. But the word for brother is wash, but only boys can have brothers. Only boys can have wash. If a girl has a brother, the girl calls that guy del, right? So I'm not sure if you guys know that word. I know that word, but del, right? It's a brother. It's the person who was born of the same mother as you. Del. Brandon, you have a question?
All right. I think I'm kind of obsessed with the sh sound. So for me, born, whenever I hear this, it makes me think of somebody spitting. It's just how you can remember it more so. Okay. But you got because I think this is the shishwa, and so it's got the most kind of wind blowing sound that makes me think of somebody spitting, which when you're being born, there's lots of water that comes with being born, just like when you spit, there's lots of water. So that would be
Okay, cool. Cool. Listen, we have 8 minutes left. Let's go to the breakout rooms. Do you guys want to do breakout rooms and talk with each other for 5 minutes, or do you guys want to do Q&A? What do you guys want to do?
Keep going. Oh, Jonty, what's the word for temperature? Like if you ask, what's the temperature?
Huabara.
Really?
Huaba means heat. Huabara is the noun form of that. It means temperature. As a loan word, look, on one end of the spectrum, there are language purists. I'm not quite a language purist, but I'm more on this end of the spectrum. And on the other end of the spectrum are people who will take loan words left and right all day till Sunday, until someday Circassian is no longer Circassian. So it's very common for people to say temperatura, at least in homeland, temperatura, right?
Okay.
But, we say in my household, and it's very common to say huabara.
And how would you say it's whatever degrees?
Nobat osratura yehuabaras.
Oh, okay.
It's 22 degree, or the temperature is 22, or you could say Noba centigrad osratus. Today it's 22 degrees centigrade. Grados. So what do people want? Okay, with 3 options: end the class early, Q&A, breakout rooms.
Let's just do breakout rooms if no one's
breakout rooms.
All right, breakout rooms. Let's go to breakout rooms. All right, so I'm not going to do a full-blown TPRS because I know it's been a long class, but let's just do a quick review. Okay, so we'll go back here. Mirchajabs, right? Mirchajabs. Chajabzam yitzar Sabinash. Sabina qashatam yis. Sabina shala. Hawa Sabina shalaqam. Sabina chajabs. Inta Sabina chajabs. Sabina shala. Hama chajabs. Sabina chajabs. Chajabzam yitzar sit. Chajabzam yitzar Sabinash. Sabina machinam yis. Hawa Sabina machinam yisqam. Sabina mafogam yis. Hawa Sabina mafogam yisqam. Sabina qashatam yis. Inta Sabina qashatam yis. Right, we covered this stuff before. I'm just giving you guys a really quick review so that we can get to this page. All right. So do you guys want to do this page, or do you guys want to try to experiment with some of the newer pages? Well, you know what? We haven't gone through these verb forms. We'll go through this one. So this is page 22. I'm going to drop this into the chat. I'm going to stop sharing.
I wanted to try all
recording. I'm sorry. Welcome back from the breakout rooms, the gladiator arenas where you guys go and battle each other.
Question.
Yeah.
Number 2. Dana wakashal shal with an L. Hua. Can
not
you
L.
say
It's not
shay?
L.
Oh, yes. The wakashal shal hua.
You did it
No,
perfect.
it almost sounds
You
like
did
a-
it
But it's not
perfect.
a-
You did it perfect.
Wakashal hua.
Yep.
Almost. And then you would say like, it was where were you born? You say sa Patterson. Sakashalhwash.
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 So something popped up when I was, and this is why I do the break. Well, I do the breakout rooms to give you guys a chance to speak and get to know each other, build camaraderie, that stuff. But I also drop in so that I can observe what you guys are struggling with and where I can help. And I think I discovered something that might be tripping you guys up, especially since so many of you are Arabic speakers. Okay. So I'm not sharing my, for the video, I'm going to share my screen. Otherwise, the people watching aren't going to benefit. So I'm on page 7 of the deck. All right. And so this first question here, right? What I want everybody to look at is this last series of letters. Listen very carefully. Hua, hua, hua. This sound does not exist in Arabic. It does exist in Spanish, Mexico, Mexico. So there's a couple of Latin-based or romance languages that will use the X as a. In this sound, it's like a cat, right? It's softer than that, but that's the type of sound that this is. The second sound, it has an X, and then there's like a little B-looking character that follows the X. That hardens the X. And so what happens is the becomes, and that is it's identical to an Arabic, right? We all know, most of us know how to make the Arabic, right? So this first word here, or this first question, the second one, obviously I'm dramatizing the kha. The first, I'm really emphasizing it. That's the difference. So I think, again, the first step to speaking it is to hear it. So I'm overemphasizing it. But I think that is something that may have been missing before, that might have made it difficult or more difficult for you guys to hear the difference.
That helps out.
Okay. So I'll go off share. Okay. So we're over time, but I like talking to you guys. And I like to answer any questions. So questions, comments, concerns. I'm okay with feedback. I got enough feedback from you guys, and I'll keep doing a better job. But grammar, pronunciation, culture, history, vocabulary, all doors are open.
Auntie, I had one question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is here midim?
Here, okay, so here, there's a couple of different ways to say here. So you can say here, mabdij, right? Depending on the grammatical use, which I'm not going to get into right now, mabdijum, mabdijum. You could also say mab, mab.
Gotcha.
Okay, and it can be confusing because in Circassian, b can mean him, her, or it. So if you speak Turkish, gender neutral pronouns are common, right? Ab. But ab can also mean over there. Over there. Right? So it means both of those.
So
Anyone else? We're all masters of Circassian. No ambiguity, no questions, no concerns. Just you guys are wizards.
A breakout room, I think, was great exercise for us to read Cyrillic.
You know, I got to tell you, thank you for that feedback, Brandon. I really have to tell you, I think, well, thank you very much. The class is over. Let me stop the recording now.